No, none.
Nice.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Your mom?
Hello, hello.
Hi, what's up, buddy?
Your mom. First thing I hear.
Good.
Anyway, if you have a little moment, I want to inject some positivity and thanks to DGG and everyone who participated in the big fundraiser we all just finished.
Okay, I guess. Go ahead, inject some positivity.
You guess. I see.
Guess,
Hello,
I guess.
Muten, I think.
Hello.
Hello. It says not Muten, so I'm confused.
Well, I gotta have it not Mootin because Steve says a lot of crazy things, and I don't want to,
Be associated with him. So
Be
if somebody says he
associated with him.
was in the call with me,
I
you can say,
relate.
that wasn't me.
I relate.
Yeah.
That's not
Association with Steven is sometimes quite, a thing. Anyway, point is, I just was on Loner Box's stream talking about like my documentary and stuff like that, and then his person from his community called Mina appeared, and she suggested we do this like warm hugs for Ukraine fundraiser to help with the people with the freezing and no electricity, no warmth, not anything, like this whole disaster. So I said yes, like why not, we can do that. And a bunch of communities participated. Loner Box's community, Connor from Counterpoints, who got banned on Twitter apparently. I can't talk with him. Anyway, and the Wig TV, a bunch of other people. Like Kalinda, I don't know if you know, she's a small YouTuber, and a bunch of people basically, and they were all like, okay, we're doing this fundraiser, and they said 20 days is the time when it ends, and I'm like, you just don't know DGG, do you? And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, they're gonna close it in like 2 days. Like, what are you on about? So they didn't really believe me, I think, that much, but ta-da, they obviously did. So thank you, everyone.
Nice.
It's closed. Yeah, I'm currently buying stuff already. I also convinced everyone not to deliver anything from Germany because it will take a bajillion years, and March is about to happen, so the cold is now. It's not gonna be here like in April or May, so we should try to do it as fast as possible. So I already ordered the power station. I already ordered thermal wear for the soldiers, and also dry showers and heat patches. And I'm gonna do 50 boxes for the soldiers plus the power station, and then I'm gonna do 60 boxes for civilians, 30 for elderly, 30 for families, with other stuff there that is more useful for the civilians.
Very nice, very cool.
And absolutely based. That's the positivity. So I will post all the receipts as usual on Reddit, Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever the fuck else. And then I also talked with Leonid today, who's a commander of 113 Brigade, who I plan to deliver stuff to. And he was extremely hyped and said thank you to everyone who participated because they just created a new unit. And that unit really needs all that shit, like thermals and like basic stuff. So we are very on time on that because they have 2 shifts for 24 hours. So they are outside all this time, and they could use a bunch of like stuff, and obviously a power station, which I insisted on because I know they're always needed. And we're gonna film all of this. Hopefully Devin can come with us, my friend who's a photographer and video guy. He can really film shit like with good quality. If not, then we will just film it on our phones because we're poor like that, we don't have any anything else. He can do it though. He has good cameras and stuff. So and we will film all of it, and I'm gonna go visit my friends from 113, which I haven't seen in a while. And they are anti-drone unit, so they defend Kharkiv, in particular where I live, from drone attacks. So that would be really based to actually show them and, to help them out as well.
Cool.
There you go. Positivity.
You guys should, have you thought about hitting up Hassan? Because I know that every time he goes in protest, he's got like the warmer gloves, and he's got like the huge like vest with the armor plates and everything. That guy's probably got half an armory in his closet, I think, of stuff that he takes out to do the
Why did you have
US
to
protests,
ruin my positivity?
Oh, I'm just saying. I've got a lot of extra stuff laying around.
I just wrote you how much I hate that motherfucker. Why did you have to remind me?
There you go. I'm trying to help the people of Ukraine, okay? Over my personal grievances.
You actually do, in fact. So I just wanted to say that GGG just is insanely based. I don't know what else to say. Like, many communities are like, yeah, we shall do it, we will help. And, they do raise some money, obviously. But nothing like that. So I will hype people up for the rest of my fucking days because they close like million. My days could be very short though, just keep in mind. But
Jesus.
as long as but as long as I do, in fact, leave, I will always remember this, and everyone is very hyped.
Isn't you said it's March is coming up, so it should be summer. Shouldn't your days be getting longer?
Technically,
Sorry, okay,
on a
just-
technicality,
okay.
still droned. Okay,
Yeah.
facts remain, and yeah, that's it. Pretty
You
much.
said, just
Have
curious. You
yeah.
mentioned the one of the brigades or whatever was in charge of, or the guy was in charge of like countering drone stuff. How has that like
Yeah.
changed, or what's the evolution of that look like? Like, how do you counter drones that are coming in by fiber optics and everything? Do they just try to shoot them out of the sky, or what's the?
Well, basically, like a bunch of new technologies being developed constantly, always. And one of the newest stuff was getting the nets everywhere, and now it's also interceptor technology, basically drones hunting drones kind of thing. So there's like drones that are fucking up drones that come to fuck us up, I guess. So there's a bunch of interceptors like that can do that. And sometimes it's actually kind of weird because I can hear them from where I live.
Yeah.
And I have this like whoosh sound, like sort of like a gust of wind, but very strong. And that's typically is followed by a bunch of explosions because there's like interceptors catching up other drones' heads and like FPV shit like that. So mostly it's this now. They are still getting shot down by like regular like guns and like all of that shit from the cars, machine guns and stuff like that. But it's like way more efficient to do it with drones. So all of that technology is getting developed, which we probably will film another documentary on if we manage to go to Lazava and film there, because they work with like new interceptor technologies that have not been shown pretty much anywhere. And if we will be able to get the permission, then we will be able to actually film them in the process of work. So them taking down drones.
Gotcha.
And we can, that would be cool actually. And I do have my equipment and stuff now, so fully like, I didn't have any, I was just running around, okay? I wasn't like very careful. But now I have like proper vests and shit like that, so I can actually go, I guess, more legally correct.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed I don't know how to say this in English. But anyway, point is that hopefully
When you said
that will happen.
so I understand, you said you have proper vests, as you said, like things that identify you as like press or something, so you can move around.
No, defensive. I should be
Oh,
wearing at least level like 5 something protection, technically.
Gotcha,
So as a
gotcha.
journalist, or like as a person who is a translator for journalists, you are supposed to, like legally, if you have a press card, you're supposed to have the certain levels of protection, which I just didn't do. I didn't wear that shit. So, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's heavy as fuck. I can barely move in it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why. But now I am officially working with like media that is Devin's, stuff, the East-West. So I don't want to put him in a stupid position if he gets like, if I get exploded, for example, and then he has to explain like why wasn't she wearing any protection, he will get in trouble. So that's mostly for his benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've heard stuff here about the basically turning off Starlink on the Russian side. Do you think has this been something that's actually helped? Do you hear people talk about this or?
Well, to be for real with you, like at this time, it's not that big of a difference. Like I know people hype it up, but most of it just optics and shit like that. They fly still regardless, like
Sure.
Starlink or not. It would have been huge help, humongous in like 23, 24. But currently, it still fucks up some of their shit for sure. Like it's not nothing, but it's not like a huge difference that some people think it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anything else, as they say?
That's supposed to be my line, motherfucker. But okay.
I mean, sorry. I feel good about it though. I can't lie. It was a good opportunity to use it.
Okay.
Anyway,
not that
freezing has been shit. I hate it so much. I knew the winter would suck ass after Trump was elected, so it's not a surprise.
Oh yeah,
But
wait. I guess
know-
for your major
Yeah.
cities that are in the east, or maybe even for like here, does Kiev have power, like reliable power, 24/7?
Nope, I don't. Nothing. Fuck all.
Not even Kiev does, or Kiev. Sorry.
Kiev is the worst.
Kiev is the
It's
worst.
like the worst. Yes, because it get the most attacks in power stations have been destroyed entirely this year. So because the attacks on civilian infrastructure and critical infrastructure since literally Trump was elected has tripled, and they destroyed power stations that all over Kiev. Kiev is now connected only to like Dnipro, station that works for both Dnipro region and here and Kyiv. And Kyiv has the most population right now for obvious reasons, you know. And that's because of that, like half the city has nothing, like no heating, no electricity. When I was there during the premiere of our film, I had electricity for 2 hours in 24 hours. That's
What
it.
is for like Kiev or for I guess for any other major city that's not like all the way to the west or whatever? What how much power a day are these places usually getting? Like on average throughout the city, would you say there's like 12 hours, 2 hours? Like what does it look like? I guess for the day, how does that work? Do they do like if I say like rolling brownouts or rolling blackouts? Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah.
Is it like where like the city will basically turn on and off like sectors at a time to kind of like balance out the power available to the city if there's only so much available? Is it like that?
That's how.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, that's how it used to be. Like in 24, that's how it was. In 23, that's how it was. We had like a scheduled blackouts, quote unquote,
Yeah,
controlled. So certain areas we had to schedule, and that'd be like 4 hours nothing, then like 2 hours something, 4 hours nothing, or like 8 hours nothing, 8 hours something. Now it's not like that. It's absolutely fucked. It's like a humanitarian disaster sort of thing. So we don't have like any scheduling. Mostly people just are out of heating altogether. Half of Kyiv hadn't had heating for 2 months, which ended up causing minus Celsius degrees in the apartments. So like pipes freezing, people freezing to death, water is unavailable. I'm sorry, that's disgusting, but I literally couldn't shower at all for like 4 days. But they're living in an apartment in the capital city because the boiler didn't have time to warm up. So I couldn't shower, and the only thing I couldn't do, I was stuffing bottles of water from the teapot to my bed. I showed you the fucking cringe when I was there, like with the pots in my bed, like an ancient lady from medieval times, basically.
This might be kind of a weird question. I don't know if it's just an American problem or if in Europe you guys have a different solution to this problem. So in the United States, if you have below freezing weathers and you leave your power off for 2 or 3 days, like if you don't have heating, like you might cause irreparable damage to the pipes, like they'll burst, and then you have to like you'll have no water if it's like the main one or whatever, like you'll be completely fucked. In Europe, is there a way around that, or are you guys having like massive plumbing issues everywhere as well when the pipes are frozen for weeks or days or whatever? Yeah,
not massive, but in some places people pipes did explode, but not like on a massive scale because it's different. They did a bunch of stuff to prevent that from happening, basically, and to try to control this fucking disaster because it has been happening for like months, and it's quite horrible, to be honest, like very debilitating, like you can't do shit, like people are super trying their best. Obviously they lifted curfew, for example, in Kyiv, so you can go out at night and can warm up in like little camp things that have like hot food or like something like that, and you can just warm up if you're like freezing in your apartment essentially. Some stuff they did like how they called in English, fuck knows, it's like a separate, like, warmer thingies that basically, to explain it simply, it's when the electricity is out, some places, for example, in Kharkiv, have separate heating sources. So the heating basically remains, but
like
I have
an
no
emergency
electricity,
power
for example.
substation or something kind
Yes,
of. Whatever,
yes. They also hid them all over the city, essentially, so they are not as visible as a big power station that Russians keep bombing. And those are like hidden, and they don't know the locations of those. So that keeps them from Shahed attacks for a while, at least, until they, find them, obviously.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So that's kind of like been their strat, really, this winter, to terrorize the population to the point that we will capitulate. So we are pressured politically from United States by Trump and his administration, and then we are pressured. They want to increase the pressure from the population on our administration because people are absolutely horrendously suffering.
Which
from
is
that reason.
That is like the definition of terrorism. Also, by the way, right, is attacks on the civilian population to force change in political opinions. Yeah, I know you.
Yes, but. Fuck them! It didn't happen.
This is
nobody changed their opinion.
Dark question followed by something that's funny, I guess. Are there like mass deaths or casualties that are reported amongst like elderly populations when the heat is out or anything, or?
Yeah,
that? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Not like I wouldn't say like mass, like I don't know, fucking everyone is fucking dying. But there have been reports, in particular with the elderly, being frozen to death, which is quite sad. And especially it concerns elderly who don't have people
Family
obviously
members
looking
and
after
stuff.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like other people or many people just simply either left or they're on the front or they are all sorts of things really, and a lot of like elderly people are fending for themselves, but with this sort of weather they just can't tolerate that. We're very sad actually. Recently, very old lady who actually survived fucking all sorts of shit during like Soviet and all of that. She's like 90 fucking something, like 99 or some shit, like very old. She like died from freezing in her own apartment. That kind of sucked to read that, but like they do try to help. Obviously, there are a bunch of volunteers who installed the kind of like fans, like blowing air thingies. They work from like power stations and stuff like that, and they like installed them near the beds of elderly who can't move. They're like non-mobile basically, right? So they're like can't really move by themselves. So so that blowing of the heat is on them basically 24/7 if possible. Yeah, hospitals have been pretty bad because obviously with no heating and no water and no fucking anything, electricity, it's very difficult to operate. Also, USAID no longer helps us, so they really help with the generators and stuff like that, and helping with the electricity, and now it's gone. So
I'm guessing for where Ukraine is situated and everything, solar stuff doesn't work too well down there. There's not like good sunlight.
not light, no light, pretty much. You can get away with it in summer, but like in winter, you have like 3 hours of fucking sunlight. I mean, that's a bit dramatic, but it's dark. Most of the time. Yeah, so people still use it, like during like morning. Sometimes you have some light or like shit like that, but it's quite. Not enough, especially for like bigger cities and shit like that. A lot of people who have opportunities to live into like rural parts, like villages, shit like that, you can use old school like fireplaces, with just wood and shit like that. That helps, obviously.
Yeah.
But most people, of course, don't have fucking houses in the villages and shit like that. So it's, modern day apartments are just a bit of a hell when it comes to electricity because they're so dependent on electricity. I have like, for example, a gas stove, which is base fuck for me because I can like cook when there's no electricity. I can warm up my like tea and stuff like that and have like hot water that way at least. But because I have a gas to do it, and most people just have straight up electricity, especially in Kiev, which makes you completely fucking useless. You can't cook, you can't anything.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a disaster. So we're trying to help out with that, buying like people some power banks that they can use to charge shit up, buying containers for food.
When you say like power banks, and then before you talked about getting those guys a power station, are these just like big batteries that you're charging when the grid is on, or are these things like also like generators that you're putting gas into, or?
No, they're charged like big batteries essentially, but generators with gas and shit like that, or like gasoline stuff like that, people use outside of not inside. It's dangerous to use them inside. They like explode and all sorts of shit. And but they are used for shops. For example, almost all like shops and drugstores and all sorts of shit have generators outside, because that's basically what other countries mostly provided us. And the USA, things like that, not this year, but like before, that the generators use. For example, in Kiev, when we would get up, the curfew ends, and you like run outside because it's cold as shit, and you want to like go outside as fast as possible because on the streets it's actually warmer because you're moving.
Yeah.
So we went out and we immediately went to some coffee shop or like a bar, some place that can get us hot food, and they all work on generators. So that's the kind of generators you mean, I imagine.
Yeah, gotcha. I had one other question. Fuck, I don't remember what it was though. Oh no, it was the question about the generators. Well, damn. Well, okay. Now it's my turn. Anything else? Oh wait, you mentioned before, and I'd heard this. You're the first person I've heard mention. Oh wait, actually, do you know what have you heard the term, or do you know the term waiter?
Oh, yeah. Like you mean the fuckers who wait for Russians, or like?
Yeah, are they still a thing, or are those people all dead or gone, or changed their mind, or Dylan? Dylan told me about these people that would like I guess like when villages would start to get taken over or when people would get pushed out, they would still, there were just people that would just stay in their homes in the villages, either waiting for Ukrainian soldiers to push back or waiting for Russian soldiers to take over, and they wouldn't care. And there were some people, some Ukrainians that would still try to like make a journey out to deliver these people food or whatever. But obviously there were people who were complaining, was like, what a waste of resources. These people could leave. It's not
That's
like they're
me.
like, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's not
I'm
like the
complaining.
they're not like sick and stuck there. They just are either apathetic or don't care or whatever. But
Yeah, fuck that. Anyway, yeah, we talked with you about it way back when Dylan did that video. I told you that I'm friends with Dylan, obviously, but I wasn't like too hyped about that whole story, to be honest. Like, that's his business, whatever the fuck he films, obviously. I have absolutely no say in it, and neither should I. But I just think that's a waste of time to like do anything for those people, and especially when there are so many actually decent people that are struggling and soldiers and things like that, and wasting any energy on that. Also, trying to save them is so risky. Like, we just filmed that another documentary about an organization called SOS East. They are volunteer guys who help people who try to get out, basically, right out the frontline zones. And they help so many nice, lovely people who just stay there because they don't want to leave for other reasons, not because they're fucking, collaborators and shit like that. Yeah, but they're like, for example, there was like elderly gent who got his house got blown up, basically. So, and he had like strokes and stuff like that, so he couldn't stay.
Oh, God, no,
and,
that's okay. That's worthwhile. I think that's good, right?
Yeah, those good. Yeah, because people just can't leave because they're in a bad conditions, health wise, or it's difficult for them. So they managed to get him out and get him to his daughter in Cherkasy, which is another part of Ukraine. So that's that's sweet, that's nice. Like, helping people like that, I'm all for, obviously. Although it is called a kill zone, that documentary, because it is a one-way trip for many volunteers, unfortunately. Because they are, if you don't have basically REB, as we say, which is like anti-drone tech, basically, on your cars, and you don't have drone detectors, and you don't have a car that is armored, then you fucked. It's gonna be like a one-way trip. You will not get anyone out, and you will just get immediately blown up by Russian drones.
Yeah.
So it's a very risky job, and like, people who do that are fucking legends, because they help people and risk their lives every day to do that, and I super appreciate that. I just don't appreciate the waste of time of fucking helping
people who are choosing to stay for dumb reasons.
Yeah, get fucked. Yeah, and I have a friend actually of mine who did that. Like, he delivered like food to a bunch of areas and helped local people after Russian occupation ended there. He was like delivering food, and then he realized that there was a group of people there at the spot. Not all of them, obviously, but a group of people who were like super duper pro-Russian fuckers, and now were begging for food from Ukraine after it was liberated. And he like drove past them when he learned, and they was like, "No, I don't have anything."
Yeah.
His entire car was full of food, so it was very visible that he had everything. And he was like, "Nah, get fucked. I'm not delivering anything to you." Not only they were cunts, but they were also the people who like snitched on other people there.
Oh, your Coach Red pills. Yeah.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, no, those people, I have absolutely... I mean, it's everyone's business. That guy who Dylan was with, he's like this weird Christian guy, sometimes it happens. So he's like this... everyone's equal in the God's eyes, or whatever the fuck thing,
Okay,
Sure. I am too fucking Eastern European for that nonsense.
Sure.
I'll be for
or
real.
maybe a good word for peacetime, but not wartime. Maybe. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm an atheist. Like, my entire life, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't know. The call me legacy of non-believers here, okay? But
Sure.
Good luck, buddy. Like, do your thing. Like, you want to do that. But yeah, it's a waste of time, and especially of younger people, in my opinion. Because, no offense to like the elderly. I mean, I love my old peeps. I try to help them every now I can, but their lives are just a little less valuable. I'll be for real. Like, wasting like ambulance people, DSNS personnel, security personnel, fire people, like rescue operations, volunteer people in their 30s and their 40s. It's just we can't waste them. They're already getting killed disproportionately because of the double taps and all of that shit and targeting.
What do you think is the general
footage?
What do you think is like the general mood of people, I guess, in Ukraine right now? Do you think it's like gotten a little bit better over the past year, or is it still kind of a little depressed, or what do you think?
Where do I start? Like everyone was so mad at you, at the United States right now. Yeah, that's both upsetting.
Or not?
but
I meant general vibe for like how I guess overall like in terms of in the conflict. I imagine everybody fucking hates the U.S. Yes, that's warranted. So I just meant
Yes.
like yeah.
You mean in the war? Yeah. Well, people like are very. It's kind of connected a little bit because all of that like capitulation enforcement annoys people. Obviously, it makes everyone anxious. That was something I was very afraid. I told you when Trump got in power, I was super terrified that our government would not represent our interests perfectly. That they will cave in, you know. And
Do you
I
think-
was yeah.
So I've kind of watched Zelensky go back and forth. I know that there are people who want to see like any European leader, not just Zelensky, but literally any European leader say, you know, fuck you, Trump, we hate you, fuck you. But then obviously you have to balance out the interests of your country, especially for Ukraine. Do you think Zelensky's done a decent job at navigating that? Do you think he's kind of capitulated too much? Like, how do you feel about, I guess, overall his, and what do you think most people feel about?
I think he did well because like I could never do it. I can't even imagine dealing with this and how to balance this. I have no idea because any normal person would want to punch him in the face every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But he can't do that, so he has to like. Also, you have like a manlet fucking with an ego, and you get him upset. Who the fuck knows what he will do? So you have to like dance around with that. Yes, that's humiliating, of course, but like. Unfortunately, you have to do that. And I think he balanced pretty well in terms of like not backing down and not signing anything retarded and not like capitulating and still standing ground and repeating the exact same shit all the time, just like Trump repeats the exact same shit all the time back. I guess it's a retard competition now. Like we repeat the exact same shit and the EU repeat the exact same shit. But also like not being like super antagonistic. But unfortunately, he didn't need to be. He wasn't super antagonistic in that unfortunate Oval Office thing that happened. He was fucking chill, but it ended up with Vance being this whole fucking scandal mess and treated like garbage. Jesus. Anyway, so you have to like, I don't know. I can't judge, I'll be for real. I don't know how you're supposed to operate in a crazy environment like that with actual fucking clowns. So I'm not sure. Like I'm relatively think he did well, and most people seem to think that way. I recently saw a poll about that. That was how many people was it? Not to lie, it was like a very recent poll.
Sure.
I think something like 68 or 69% of people think he did in Ukraine think he did a good job, and like he should continue. Like 70 something said he should continue negotiating on our behalf, basically. So they're like happy with his efforts. So I found it. It's Gallup thing, I think, or Ipsos, something like that. They did. How soon do you think the wait. Do you agree or disagree that Volodymyr Zelensky is the right person to conduct negotiations with representatives, blah, 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 shit like that. And 70% of people, 50% of people strongly agreed and tend to agree like up to 75 or some shit like that. So most people seems to be happy with the efforts, basically. And most people think he's doing a good job as a president. Still, which is above like around 70 as well, like 69, not like 68, something like that. So decent enough. I was worried that people would be beaten down by this whole attacking of the power, energy and stuff like that, because it's difficult, genuinely like difficult to deal with.
For basic questions about your political system, do you guys vote for your president directly, or is that like a prime minister? You do? Okay. How often are you supposed to vote for your new one?
Well, it's like 4 years, I think.
Every 4 years?
But it's not happening now, obviously, because of the.
Are there any people, or is there any conversation inside Ukraine about? Obviously, not in the same, like, I know outside the United States, people would run that line of like, oh, it's not a democracy because they didn't elect Zelensky.
Oh, yeah.
I know that. But are there ever people in Ukraine who ever think like, wow, like if this war keeps going on and on, Zelensky might be president for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years or something? Is that ever like a thought, or do people not really care? They're not really thinking about it?
Honestly, no. Like nobody sees, like most people just don't think that's something anyone would want. You know?
Okay.
Honestly, like, I don't think even it's not something people discuss. Nobody is concerned that if the war ends somehow, which we are concerned that it's not gonna end. That's the concern with the war, right? But yeah, but like nobody is like super concerned about the shift of power to that, because nobody thinks that there will be no elections or no democratic or stuff after that. It's just no reason to think that. So yeah, the exact same poll that I just read about, I think also asked about the fucking like election stuff, because Americans use that as a talking point quite a bit, especially Trumpist people picked it up, I think. And there was like, how soon do you think presidential and parliamentary elections should be held in Ukraine? I can actually send you this thing. And most people said not until the war formally ends. And a bunch of people said not until the proper ceasefire is established. So most people are reasonable. They're not like insane. They don't think we should do it now because it's doesn't make sense to do.
Yeah.
I have sent you, I think, the post on like in DM if you want to see that poll. Although I think it's like in this. They named it, by the way, polls Trump would kill for. That's
true. Yeah.
That's petty. I like it. Yeah, but it's because Trump can't stop talking about how fucking unpopular Zelensky is, which is not true, and that meanwhile his own ratings in America are kind of shit. So
yeah, they kind of have their own little world that they live in, where he says he's doing great on his polls and everything's going great. And I think it was funny, he did an interview a while ago where they were like, most people are not happy with the economy right now. And his response to the interview was like, well, most people are wrong. They need to know that the economy's good. But I said so. It's just like, yeah,
based.
That's true. Actually,
anytime someone says like, you're doing a shit job, you'll be like, no, actually, I'm doing a great job.
That's like 5 years of Trump. Yep, that's basically every single day. Good job. You could be Trump. Yeah, that's it.
Not that difficult, to be honest. That's a pretty easy strat. It always works,
Yeah, true.
And you have like a bunch of retards who are your followers essentially, and then they will just agree with you whatever the fuck you say. So there you go. Have been there any like fucking arrests or like, I don't know, investigations with all the pedo shit, like Epstein shit in the United States, or like nobody gives a fuck? I don't understand.
Not really, no, but there probably wouldn't be, because the files that are being released are all being released by our Department of Justice, which does all the investigation stuff. So if they were going to make any arrests, they've already had the documents. It's not like they would release something and then say, oh, we should arrest based off the documents that we released, because they've already had them, right? So even if there was something in there that was worth arresting over, it would probably look bad to arrest now, because the question would be, well, why didn't you before when you had them? I think the only thing that could come from those in terms of arrests would be other countries that have information that now that they see maybe our investigative stuff released publicly, maybe they can do something to somebody in their country, because they know that now that they were doing something bad, maybe like combined with information that the U.S. didn't have. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think there are going to be any arrests or anything based on the releases of these.
Cringe. In Europe, they actually resigned. A bunch of people resigned who were in the files and shit like that. I think there was news that they arrested Prince William or some shit.
Yeah, although I think that had to do with his time as it had to do with some trade, or I don't remember something. It wasn't. I don't think it was related to the Epstein files, or maybe it was something that came out of the Epstein files that had to relate to his job, but not like fucking kids or anything. It was something abusing his powers.
Probably, yeah. But there was like this guy that is now investigated, Norwegian guy who was like in Russia, implicated basically by Russian connections there pretty hard. And that stuff could probably be more of a, I guess, implication than anything else. But yeah, it's just so fucking weird, dude. Especially for those like I just know that I learned recently that so many people are fucking obsessed with the pedo shit in the United States. Like,
man, everybody. Yeah, if you watch any YouTubers, everybody's a pedophile. If you watch any news, all the episodes are everything's a pedophile. Yeah, everybody. They think in the U.S. we have this like very obsessive idea that the entire world is ran by like wealthy billionaire political pedophiles, and everybody. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, you might believe it too. Listen, you got the dyed hair, so maybe that's your belief system as well. But I tend to think that not every single billionaire wants to fuck kids. But hey, who knows?
I don't think so. I'm just saying that apparently, like, the same people who are obsessed with that shit are now pretending that the files don't exist. It's
True!
Like,
and that's the only reason why I'm okay with it being pushed, because these motherfuckers obsessed with this shit for years, and now that it's coming out and there are people in it that they don't like that are in it, they're like, well, I don't think this matters anymore. It's like, oh, nah, fuck you. You know what? Yeah.
They're like unironically now wrong pedophiles. They're like, they wanted other people to be like the pedophiles, I guess.
Basically.
I heard
they wanted the Dems too.
Oh yeah, like Hillary shit. I laughed so hard, but it was actually real apparently. Like many people believed in that shit. I mean, this was a real theory.
Wait, believed in
like,
what stuff?
Pizza something like pizza cringe.
Pizzagate. When you say
Yeah, what?
to be clear, when you say people believed in that, the whole QAnon Pizzagate stuff, that was the foundation for the MAGA movement. Like that
Oh my
whole
God.
conspiratorial thing, that's what grew out of, or growing out of that was a large portion of the MAGA movement. I don't know if you guys, I don't know how much domestic politics. Well, people around the world get way too much U.S. domestic politics, even if you don't want them.
Oh
But,
yeah, I have not. I want nothing of it to be honest, but I
the-
get something.
Trump's insertion point into like our big political discourse in like 2016 was him claiming that Barack Obama, we call these people birthers, but he claimed that Barack Obama was actually born in Kenya and that there was like a deep state that was hiding his real birth certificate and he wasn't even a U.S. citizen. So that if he was born somewhere else, he can't be president in the United States. So that was his huge talking point. And I don't mean like he tweeted about it once. I mean, he talked about this. He obsessed over this for months about him releasing the real birth certificate and everything. So yeah, Trump's always been like a loony conspiratorial fuck. And that played nicely into the whole QAnon stuff and everything else. And a lot of your big early MAGA people, like your Marjorie Taylor Greens, if you look at their early Facebook posts, like
That one is famous in Ukraine.
yeah, but she was Facebook posting about like when there were a bunch of wildfires in Hawaii, people were speculating that like
Laser,
Oprah
the
was
fucking
working
laser
with
queen.
Jewish space lasers, and that a lot of
Yes.
the acclimate weather in the South, like a lot of the hurricanes were being caused by Jewish weather machines, and weather manipulation is real and all that. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately.
God, that was so epic. I mean, until you know that they're in the actual government, then it's certainly not that epic. But like, if they were like just a bunch of retarded people, couldn't deal with
His family's
the
Russian. He can't
space.
handle it. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that. Yeah, it's just so fucking strange to even think about those people, like that they're actually in power now. Like the people used to laugh at those people back in the day. There was like absolute, like, deranged lunatics. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
But now the deranged lunatics are half the fucking government apparently. So I'm not
And it's
sure
funny because
how
like
funny.
both sides of us laugh at each other for the exact opposite reason. Because like we're laughing at them where it's like you guys are absolutely fucking crazy, and now you're running the government, and they're looking at us like, you thought we were crazy, and now we're running the government. It's like, well, fuck me, I guess. Like, Jesus. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, the Marjorie Taylor Greene is so funny though. Like I never thought I'd live the day when people in my country would protest with Marjorie Taylor Greene, fuck you, Marjorie Taylor Greene things. It was funny. Yeah, it was. Wow. It was about this like law that we protested when it was our like government tried to pass the shit ass law basically about the anti-corruption bureaus becoming not independent anymore, which was absolute garbage shit. Like nobody obviously stand for that. It was a violation of like basically everything we stand for. So people went during war, by the way, mass protested, like went outside, protested that shit, blocked all sorts of shit, and the government didn't pass it. So yeah, and there were Marjorie Taylor Greene used that opportunity when that was happening to pretend that we were protesting Zelensky's government altogether because we wanted to capitulate. So because we didn't want war, basically, is what she said on her like, and actually people protested because they didn't like the law. And they wanted for it to not be passed. And people saw that, and it became like super viral. And there were a bunch of people in like Kharkiv, Kiev, Odessa, all sorts of places protesting with like "fuck you, Marjorie Greene." I saw them like with my actual eyes. I was like, oh my god, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was an overlap of my internet life and my real life. Yeah. I was like, why does it overlap? It's so uncomfortable. Like,
who would have known? Since 2014, the CIA is still there, I guess, causing protests and stuff. And now they were targeting MTG. It's so horrible, yeah.
I just kind of like that it doesn't overlap because nobody in my actual life knows what the fuck is going on, like what the fuck I'm doing, don't know people I talk to at all, and I kind of like it that way, honestly. The only thing that got like sort of viral was the Piers Morgan thing, and that got like on United 24, which is Kiev, big Ukrainian news outlet basically, and people saw like me there doing it. They translated it as well. There's a language barrier, of course, as well, because like if I do something like in English somewhere, most people don't get it, so don't get it on their news and stuff like that. And yeah, but that was very fun because people recognized me from that, and a bunch of soldiers were like, "You dated that?" Fuck, I don't think I can say this word. It's very not tolerant and progressive.
Okay. The F one.
It's basically that
Okay,
one.
the gay guy.
That Russian this word
Yeah.
essentially, right? And that was like it was about that Horton guy who's pro-Russian guy in the United States. He's like libertarian something. I don't know if they are a thing. Libertarians. They seem to be always fucking be some pro-Russian hacks. Anyway, I debated that guy there, and it was like Cenk as well there, but he didn't do like much. But there was like this, he was just like, the corporations, and I was like,
it's
my
fucking
god,
annoying,
the
yeah.
fuck that has to do with anything. That guy basically, military industrial complex, that guy. Anyway, and the other guy was actually doing like Russian propaganda, which word for word, just in English, and I was like, oh, that's my guy, so I concentrated on that guy. The most I could. I was nervous though because I was just a random ass girl,
Yeah.
There was like a bunch of big dudes there and like me, so I wasn't really. And that was like based as general at the end, who was on my side, but that he appeared like Batman basically at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. But people recognize me for that, I think. But other than that, I really like that my life doesn't overlap at all with like actual stuff because mostly it's volunteer effort. So people know me for that here, for journalism and volunteer shit and delivering stuff and all of that. But not my fucking lactoid debates. Holy fuck! I don't want anyone to see that. Okay, nobody should see that.
Yeah. I don't like people seeing my lactoid debates. Yeah. Ugh. Horrible conversation.
Ew! My god.
This is a random question. Wait, have you ever heard of the game StarCraft?
Yeah, but I never played it, but I know it exists, yeah.
Do you know a guy called White Raw? That's his online name.
No.
No. Okay, never mind. He is an ex StarCraft 2 professional gamer. Alexi, I think might be his name. That doesn't help at all because I'm pretty sure half the people in your country are named Alexi or Vladimir or whatever. Or no, yeah. Yeah,
Is he
Vladimir is
Russian
like your
or-
guy. No, I think he's Ukrainian, but
Oh.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Ukrainian. I kind of feel bad because he spoke a lot about issues in Ukraine in 2014, but I didn't know or give a fuck. I was a StarCraft 2 kid, I guess. Yeah. So, but okay, yeah.
It's something you played as well, yeah?
Yeah, that was my background in programming. Yeah. We made a huge mistake. I went out drinking with those guys one time, and then never again. All Eastern Europeans
Got
were
fucked.
completely off limits for that shit. Jesus.
We trained our new Americans here, okay? They become trained. We train their livers, and it's all good now. They can drink and stuff like that. But it takes a while. I don't think Dylan will be able to be for real. Like, I don't think he can, ever train himself. Let's put it that way. But other people sometimes they can, yes. But you also it's not really, needed. Of course, sometimes soldiers will just kind of try to get people drunk for fun.
Sure.
So I try to defend them as much as I can because I don't want them to be shit-faced, and it's problem with the people though, with many foreigners, that they just start vomiting all over the place, and that's shit. Like nobody wants to deal with that because here people just you just don't vomit that much because you're used to it, and your liver gave up. It understands that it doesn't need to do its job because you want to die anyway, so it just doesn't expel any toxic stuff from you. And in normal people, I guess, it does. So, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah. Have you been in the fucking, like, anywhere? Like, you drank with them where? With the...
It was either in Poland or it was in San Diego. I don't remember which one, but...
Oh, Poland?
I lived in
You've been in
Warsaw
Poland?
for 3 months.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then and then for...
Close.
Yeah, close-ish, yeah. I guess, yeah. Closer than where I'm at now. And then, yeah, there'd be events and stuff because he competed in the West, so, yeah.
Oh, that's cute. I didn't know that. I mean, I've been in like Warsaw for like Warsaw is how you say in English. I think it's in the like multiple like times for quite some time, but not like I didn't live there. But just mostly a trip from there. Basically, you go there and then you go somewhere else. Where you want to go as well. Yeah. Well, yeah, drinking stuff. What else?
I have a big debate in 6 days with your...
Constantine.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited for that one. But I fucking hate your takes, so I don't know. I don't know.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I told you. Like, I think he's a Weasley fuck. Like, I obviously will be rooting for you there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it just annoys me because Americans are like, no offense, all offense. I take it back.
Good.
All offense
Yeah,
too.
offend me.
Absolutely retarded when it comes to ethnicity, nationality, and race. I understand why, okay? That's just not your thing. Like, That's good, probably. But like you're basically a nation based off national principles, not ethnic principles, So I understand why you don't understand, but like it annoys me, and nobody gets to that with him. Like you should fucking talk about the important stuff, like why the fuck it matters. That's important. Like except that everyone starts talking about is Ukrainian an ethnicity, is an English an ethnicity, and all of that, instead of talking about like actually why does it fucking matter? Like why are we not prioritizing in any modern civilized society? We should prioritize nationality, and why is it wrong to do that? Why ethnicity matters? That's the question I want people to fucking ask, and he never gets to it. He's never like pressed to even reply. Like, why do you think that the ethnical background of Rishi Sunak disqualifies him from being a fucking leader or some shit? Like, that's the questions I want to know answers for. But nobody gets there. Like, you all get bogged down on the fucking with that guy he's debated. I don't know who that is. A Scottish, I think, person or something like that.
They
I
don't
ended up
remember the
talking
guy's name, but yeah, the issue is that, so like in the United States now, we can just say like we don't like brown people or whatever. We've gotten to that point in our politics, but I think in the UK they're not quite there, so people kind of dance around a lot of it.
Yes,
so when people,
that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
But he's doing that very great. He's fucking, I hate the guy, but he's like not dumb. He's quite smart. He like does it very.
Constantine?
Sure. Yeah,
but I think it's because the conversation that you're saying that you wish would happen, I think an issue is that a lot of people on the left don't like to have those conversations. Like they're not really prepared to have them. So usually what happens is if somebody says like, oh, like I think this country should be built around like a certain type of ethnic principle, like people on the left just kind of like their eyes go wide and they just start screaming racism at people and they don't really know how to argue it from that point. So that's why all of those conversations get bogged down there, unfortunately.
That's kind of what I see, yeah, because like the guy was like stumped basically. The other person was stumped by him saying like, you called me racist, but like I don't call my son English. And he was like, well, yeah, he can't be like, racist against his son. It kind of killed the whole vibe, and they never got to the
the big point. The annoying point, though, you can argue the point too, but the annoying point is that Constantine, and I guarantee if I were to look at other debates, I think that these people that come to America a lot and debate a lot of American stuff, like I know you don't like I'm actually not even sure. I don't know how much we would agree or disagree at the end if we were to really like go down the whole ethnic racial arguments. But the problem is they play the word games using American conceptions or terms of things. And so, for instance, I've seen Constantine in that debate drew a very clear line between English and British. Like that one was referring to some sort of like ethnic genetic background.
A line, though.
Well, sure. I think you can argue that. But in other contexts, I've seen...
You should.
But the problem is in other contexts. So I've seen I think Matt Goodman, who Constantine is a big fan of, will use the terms British and English interchangeably. So even
they blur them.
Exactly. But the thing is, what that shows is that even if there is a clear delineation, the fact that people are willing to use them interchangeably, it says something about how you view it. So when somebody says like, well, I don't think he can be English, but in other places you use English and British interchangeably, what you're saying is this is a basis by which you can exclude somebody from your country. That's what they're really saying.
Yeah,
but the left people
agree
can't.
With that, yeah.
I do agree. Like you can't, like you're not going to become like if I go to Japan, I can take on a Japanese nationality. I can become a Japanese citizen, but I'm not going to become an ethnic group. That's fucking retarded.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
and they do it. He does it on purpose, though. He's like, for example, doesn't say my son because, for example, he doesn't say my son is British. He says because like British is an umbrella nationality term, so it includes English, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And and that's like basically think of it about as like, for example, like during Soviet times, right? There was like Soviet as a term, but it wasn't anything about the ethnicity of the person. It was an umbrella term because the empire, was called that way, and it was like occupation, whatever the fuck you want to say. But like the people were included in that. That term included Russian, Belarusian, Kazakh, Ukrainian, whatever the fuck else, like everyone else, right? Right? But like that's the kind of seed that exact same way, right? In the sense, they're
but even at that, I'm not sure, and I would have to travel around the UK a lot more. I don't know if people in the UK even view British that way. Maybe people in England do, but my impression of, like, for instance, like Scottish people, if you were to call a Scottish person, oh, you're British, right? Or people even in Northern Ireland, I'm not sure, but like obviously for people on the Republic of Ireland, like they wouldn't be British. They're not even part of the United Kingdom. Well, I guess actually they're not even part of the British Islands, so I don't even know if that would encompass Northern Ireland. But like, I don't think you can call Scots Brits and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm British. I think they would say,
no,
we're
wait,
Scottish, right?
They will actually punch you in the face if you call them English.
Yeah, but I don't think you would call them British either. I think most Scots say we're Scottish. I'm Scottish. I think they would just
Yeah,
end it
they
at
will.
that.
It's technically correct, but like because they're part of UK, they're part of Great Britain, whether they like it or not. Just like Soviet Union, whether we liked it or not, we were part of it, right? But they establish their actual identity most of the time because they want to separate. Exactly because when people say British, it's equalized with English. It's like the same as Russian, right?
Yeah, but
for example, I would like to establish my identity.
That's all I'm
as
saying
Ukrainian.
in terms of when you have these conversations that like so many of these terms are used in ways where you can, when some people pretend there's like a huge distinction between them, I don't think it's always true. Like if I were to say like North American, people are almost always, at least in North America, probably, well, at least in Canada and the United States, people are thinking U.S. and Canada. If you were to say like, oh, I love traveling all throughout North America, and then you would name a bunch of Mexican places you've gone to, like I don't know if anybody would say, well, that's wrong because I mean I guess Mexico is in North America, but
I mean all of it.
Yeah.
All of it is obviously it's constructed, so
Sure.
it's like it's categories constructed, so they can change, they can shift. It's not like a fucking over. It's not just like some people like cringe fucking right or to be like biological reality and all of that. Obviously, it's not that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like there are definitions obviously that do matter. For example, the people Americans seem to get like really confused that you can be ethnicity and nationality, and it's the same name. So for example,
that
there
is
could be-
confusing though. To be fair, that's some bullshit, confusing shit, right?
No, it's not.
It
It's
is.
because American is only a nationality. There's no.
Well, yeah, but there are
confusion
also
there.
countries where
Yeah,
there are like
yeah.
multiple ethnicities within like the nation as
Yeah,
well, so it gets
that's-
confusing as fuck, right?
That's old word shenanigans, my guy. Like it's the old word shenanigans, and you don't have them because like if you say to me American, I have no idea. Like what ethnic background of that person is. Kind of that's the whole point of
Sure.
the fucking America, wasn't it? To create a country that wasn't built upon ethnic background, that was built upon the shared national identity of being an American. Like
Sure.
this whole fucking epic speech, right? Like everyone can come here and be an American. You can't be like German in Germany, whatever the fuck, you know that speech. And yeah, it's because of that difference. I think people get confused because there is a French nationality. But there's also French ethnicity, and not everyone in French is ethnically French.
Sure,
but they
that-
can be French
yeah,
by
that-
nationality.
Yeah, that might be
No?
true, sure.
Not that
But
difficult.
the thing at the end of the day though is that like so going back to that Constantine quote, if you were to get Constantine behind closed doors, or if there was a way to probe his mind, and you were to ask him like, do you think your son is more English than whoever that fucking the mayor is of London, who's some Muslim dude or whatever? I think he would say he is. I think he would just say
you
that.
mean because of the racial stuff?
Yes,
Or like,
yeah.
Because
I think he would, yeah.
yeah, I see. Yeah.
So
But that's why they dance around it. I
Yeah, I
think
know,
we all
that's-
know
yeah.
that that's what they think. But
Yeah.
they use the fucking fairy language to cover that up. And most people, unfortunately, Westerners, especially of left variety, get stumped with that language.
Yeah, which
they
is
start
annoying,
posting
yeah.
cringe. Like basically ethnicity is not a thing, or it doesn't matter. Like bro, like it does obviously. I just hate that shit. Like I'm actually cringe soy leftist in that regard. I don't really care that much about like ethnicity, but I'm not gonna deny it exists or that it defines people's lives, or that it matters, that there is culture there, that there's language there, that there is traditional stuff there, that there's actual DNA, there, but you can actually literally check and see the people's heritage, where they come from, what's in their blood, all of that stuff, like what's in their DNA, right? The question is not that it's not a thing. The question is that why should it matter? That's the question. Should it matter is the question, right? We should talk about that. Like maybe it should. Like who knows, right? But nobody's debating that. Is in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I'm a civic nationalist guy. Like I care about national stuff. I care about nations. I don't
Sure.
care that much about like ethnic background. For example, like my friend Faik, right? He's Azerbaijani.
Yeah.
Ethnically, he's not Ukrainian, but he was born in Ukraine. He has Ukrainian passport. We share the same culture. We share the same. He grew up here just as much as Ukrainian to me as anyone else because of his nationality. It's the same as mine, Ukrainian, right? So yeah, that's kind of what it matters to me. Although he's Muslim, which obviously is not typical here, like most people are not. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But that's the question, I think. Like, why should it matter, really?
Yeah, I
But
don't disagree at all. This is
Yeah.
usually my number one complaint is because people on the left won't engage at all, or when they start to engage, it's like delusional engagement. Like every single person is the exact same, and it doesn't. And it's like, well,
Yeah,
they can have like the
but I
same
also
rights
can't
or
pretend-
opportunities and everything else, but like this is like we need to be able to have like better conversations about this stuff, and it's really
Yeah,
really
but I
hard.
also can't pretend that he's not different from someone who's Ukrainian, by the appearance and all of that. It's just a fact of the matter. I look at him and I see that he's Azerbaijani. Okay,
Yeah.
my eyes, they see things, so
Yeah.
it's obviously it's there. The problem is like, why does it exclude people? Why should it? How it disqualifies them, for example. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
And why the fuck should it disqualify them? That's and they don't seem to bring any arguments why it should. They just say, well, they're different
Yeah.
ethnicity or different color, and that's it. That's the
Yeah.
argument.
But like you said, they never
nobody's-
get pressed on it, so then they don't ever have to defend it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of how I wish people would like address that shit. Also, he's a slimy fucking dude. He like sometimes pretends to be Ukrainian for some reason, where he isn't really. I don't know. He just uses that like to his advantage. I think to
Yeah, I've heard him
in
do
a
the whole
debate.
like my grandparents I think died in a concentration camp or something. I don't know what his relationship is with that, but yeah.
Probably because he's Jewish, I think. I would
Maybe, I
imagine.
guess, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just made assumptions, okay? But he does look it.
Oh, geez. Oh, okay. I'm bad with the.
Yeah, but
Alright.
I
can never tell.
yeah. Also, bunch of like people I think there's actually a big community I think of like Russian dudes who are ethnically Jewish who moved to the US and now they're the fucking techno bros for some reason, or like yeah, I don't know, like there's apparently a bunch of them. I had no idea. For example, your very good friend Lex Friedman.
Yeah. There were a lot of
yeah,
Russians
so
I
that's-
know, I think in the early 90s that moved to Israel after, I think that was like the fall of the Soviet Union and everything, so maybe somewhat the US
That,
line.
to be fair, like a lot of Ukrainian Jewish people also moved to Israel. They have like double stuff, and they could be here and there. I have like literally a fuck ton of my neighbors who partially half of their families live in Israel now because they're Jewish and stuff like that. Because there was like this policy from Israel, basically, come here, we will get you stuff, and you can like migrate easily and all that shit.
Yeah.
So, they used that as an opportunity, which would make sense because of the collapse of the Soviet Union. It was a fucking shit show. Like it was shit show before, but like in the process, it was also a shit show. So many people didn't see any like future like financial opportunities. Or I never thought that the country would be something normal with like laws and all of that functional stuff. And they decided to use this opportunity to move, which can't really say that that's weird or stupid by any means. So
Yeah.
yeah, and but yeah, I just really wish someone would talk with him who could actually fucking clock his fucking stuff, because he's maneuvering all over those people, and I don't like that. Okay, I don't appreciate that. So maybe
If there
you can-
were two issues that you would want to see him pressed on when I talked to him in a few days, what do you think, what would the two ones that you want to see him have to like really truly contend with be?
What's the main topics like of your talk, or is there any?
I think it's just going to be
do you-
broadly. I don't know if somebody has a link to it, but it's probably just going to broadly be like conservatism and like Trump and MAGA and immigration, like just like the hot topics of the world right now. I think broadly.
So nothing like in particular, yeah. Well, then I guess the fucking thing about the ethnic stuff I already told you. Like, I just want him to be pressed on like why the fuck that matters. Not that ethnicity isn't a thing, or it doesn't matter, or you can magically become fucking Japanese by genes by having a child in Japan. So I don't want that nonsense, okay? I want to be like, why does he think that that the preservation? And I want him to say it as well. I fucking hate that he doesn't say it out loud.
That's one
He's
of my
like, he
biggest
should-
things when I'm in debates with people. Sometimes I'll just say, okay, hold on. I want to hear you say this thing. Yes, because people will kind of imply it. They'll never actually say it. Like, just state this position for me so I can hear it clearly, so that it's like on the record. I
Yeah,
agree. That's
he
very
is
annoying.
arguing for the homogenous ethnic nation.
Mm-hmm.
So the nation that is not maybe fully English, right? Or like but the majority, absolute
Yeah.
majority of people
thing
should
that-
always stay.
And the thing that
that's
drives me
not
crazy
even,
about
like-
people that argue these positions is that they always, and nobody ever notices like how goofy this is, but these people, I don't know, they realize it, they always draw the line right before themselves, Because if
Yeah,
you like,
that's the
I don't know if he
meme.
actually is Jewish or not. Like, I know his family came from Russia or whatever, but like, if he's
Yeah.
Jewish, like whatever line you're drawing, like why there, Because a lot of
Yeah,
people, especially
that's-
Jewish people, draw the
that's
line
the
after
best-
you. Yeah.
That's the fucking best thing. Have you seen this Zizek meme about this, exactly about this topic? If not, I will send you that video later. Because he basically explains exactly this thing, that every fucking Eastern European moves closer to the West and then draws the line on them.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but I like a lot of
yeah,
Zizek memes.
it's just
so, yeah.
it's iconic meme. Like he's like basically it's like what the Polish do now. They'd be like, oh, those Ukrainians, they moved quite a lot of them moved to our country, and we're not sure that's great because they are a little bit Oriental.
Okay.
They're a little bit Asian. And I'm like, bro, same monkey, like literally same. Like we are the same as you, You have been called Oriental by the Western people for ages. Fucking, it's just so annoying. You like moved to European Union 5 days ago, and now you're not Oriental, but everyone else outside of your perimeter is. So, and Zizek basically talks about it that everyone becomes Mongolian basically every 5 seconds. Like, you get accepted in the club of the cool kids, like in the European Union or the Western world, and then the rest the line is drawn there. Everyone else is Mongolian, but not you.
Yeah.
You're not. You're the
people.
good Western European guy. And you'd be like laughing about that. And you'd be like, okay, obviously. I want to say something very not good right now about our Polish brothers, but whatever, it's a slur, I should say that. Anyway, point is that the technique is used like that by many people in like different parts of the world. So yeah, that's kind of what I want him to be pressed on. Like, why the fuck is the line there? Like, why is he particularly fucking fabulous as a migrant, but he's not particular? Another person from other places not, which he probably will start talking about, like Judeo-Christian, whatever the fuck values and all of that. Which I would like people to say, like, if a person is liberal, he is is pro-democracy, is pro all that sort of like basic shit, then why is he not welcome? Like, why?
Yeah, this was do you know who JonTron is?
Oh?
No, okay.
Should I?
He was like a cartoon YouTuber guy a long time ago, but that was kind of, I had a really huge conversation, but it was like 10 years ago. But that was, I ended up asking ultimately like that question, expecting, because this guy was like a very normal guy. Like I didn't know he was into kind of weird politics, but we were having a conversation about it. And I asked him, I was like, oh, well, like, let's say like 1 million or 100 million Mexicans wanted to come to the United States, but all of them were totally aligned. Because he gave me that thing. It was like, well, Americans have different values and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, what if these people were totally aligned with their values and everything? And eventually he was like, well, usually you would expect them to, I think, did he say like assimilate into the gene pool first? And I was like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I just don't know why they're such pussies as well, because you can make arguments about why the ethnic, preserving the majority of the same ethnicity matters. Mm-hmm. Like, you can make those arguments. In some countries, they actually fucking do matter. Like, for example, do I want like a fucking ton of Russians over here? No, I don't. Not because of the fucking ethnic blood. Oh, sorry. Not because I throw no blood. Not because of the genetic stuff, okay? But because we don't share anything fucking values whatsoever. We have a completely different worldview. We have a completely different set goals for the countries, and they fucking all the time when they appear here, their fucking shenanigans happen.
Sure.
Of like, erasure of the language, erasure of the Ukrainian culture, erasure of everything. We like fucking we get Russified. That's what happens. That's what I'm against. Not them on principle of the fucking gene pool. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like obviously I don't want them there. Like if they're cringe like that, if they're danger to my country, they're danger to my people, and it always ends up with us being fucking mass deported and mass murdered. So that kind of taught me a lesson that probably we're not that compatible, to be for real.
Sure.
And so the preservation of the ethnical of Ukrainian, ethnic stuff like language, culture, the DNA, all of that shit, like the surnames, the names, the fucking everything that surrounds it, right? The culture ultimately, it's what we fight for right now. Mm-hmm. So of course for me that matters quite a bit, and matters for literally everyone, like who fights. But it's you can make arguments like that, but it just never comes to it, and they don't even I think try to. They're just by default assume that they're appealing to people just by saying they're not like us, so fuck them, I guess. Like basically just basic bitch xenophobia kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want you to probably, if you're able to, just try to press him. So I just want to hear his arguments, even if he has any, because I don't think he might have them, because he's not dumb. So I think he would have some sort of backup plan.
I think he is dumb. I think he rides. Well, he's he can debate and everything well enough. Like he's verbally adept, but I feel like all the ideas are very, very, very shallow. But they never have to actually get into any of it because nobody.
Yeah,
plays
maybe.
them, so, yeah, we'll see. I guess.
Yeah, so that's the question basically. Is he dumb like because he uses like those shallow, dumb, slimy arguments, or is he like actually smart, but he knows he can get away with it, and he doesn't need to try that hard to be, to score wins? Essentially, is my question, because like some people are actually genuinely retarded who believe in that shit, and some people are pretend to be retarded to appeal to the equally retarded racist and like xenophobic audiences and shit like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know which one he is, to be honest. I haven't watched so much of his stuff to be sure. So
Oh, I guess I'll find
yeah,
out.
yeah, I hope, because I was like hyped for that shit, because I, at least I know that guy a little bit. Sometimes like, people debating such obscure fucking people, like people have been like, you should debate Lactoid. I'm like, for the love of God, like why should I do that? Like, yes, fucking how many people watching his shit? Like we are promoting Lactoid at this point. Like why? Like why should we talk about the guy who repeats the exact same bullshit he repeated for ages and learns nothing new, just does propaganda? Do I need to listen to Yanukovych was a legitimate president bayan thing? Like, but I don't know. It's a dead horse. Like nobody.
I would
talks
say
about
like
that
I think
shit.
there's an argument to be made if they're bringing up like good talking points, or if they seem intelligent, or they've like researched it a lot or whatever. But yeah, if it's going to be the same bullshit talking points. But now it's like it's a very good like sword and shield, where the stupid Russian talking points will come out, but it's on an irrelevant person, and so if they fail, it's not because the talking points are bad. You can just say like that person was an idiot, so their points are always still out there. So it's a very annoying world to play in, where like idiots can carry your arguments forward, and then even if they lose on the arguments, nobody sees the argument as defeated, and it'll still be out there in some other form. Yeah.
I will say though that I recently heard you speak in a little clip about something that actually I felt like, oh my god, that's literally what has been happening to me and to other people for such a long time, but I couldn't put it into words. You talked about in the context of conservatives, like Trump stuff, but it applies to like Russian shit as well, to propaganda, because you spoke like you always on the defensive.
Oh yeah.
So they kind of they dictate the conversation, and even if you performed well, you like beat their ass in a debate or whatever. You never talked about any things you wanted to talk about things that are actually important. You just spend time basically being on this like defensive position, talking about dispelling bullshit like for fucking 2 hours basically. And I was like, Jesus, that's literally what I have been doing, and it has been so annoying. That's why I kind of stopped doing that, because I was losing my mind over this shit in like 22, 23, shit like that. Because I go to like podcast debates or whatever the fuck, panels and stuff like that, right? Like weak stuff and things like that, weak TV, I mean, and I just spend hours fucking doing deflection. Like I'm beating up the projectiles of Russian bullshit, and even if I win, I haven't spoke about anything
Ukraine,
that matters.
Anything that matters,
I
for
had that.
sure.
Yeah, it was so sad to me. Like every time I felt like a shit. People like hype me up. They would be like, "Oh, you did so well," and I'm like, "Did I?" Like I don't feel accomplished. I talked about 2014 for God's sake again.
Yeah.
It's been a decade ago. I don't want to talk about any of that. It doesn't matter. But you will be hit with fucking Newland, fucking Burisma, some other fucking shit that nobody cares about other than those people, I guess, because it's like propaganda talking points, and you be like, feel like shit afterwards, like because you haven't spoken about anything that actually mattered, that affects the country right now.
Yeah, I agree.
About things that Russians are doing right now. Like, I never got to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Not about, like, Kherson Safari, not about the Kakhovka Dam, not about the 90% of targets being civilian targets. I just, there's no time. You always talk about, like, things they want to talk about.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
it's
so-
very fucking annoying, yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's actually... You talked about it, not in this sense. You talked about the MAGA stuff mostly. But I was like, it's the exact same thing, though. It's, like, the exact same problem.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
That's why they're always on the attack, but it's like, I notice it sometimes because I watch people, sometimes even a little bit jealous, because it's like, I wish I had like the audacity to just say something so poorly researched and just so fucking stupid. But it's like, and I look at them and I'm like, man, you guys are so dumb. But they're not really, because like they'll say this shit over and over again, and maybe you win the argument. But like you said, it's like, well, what did you gain from that? Like, good job. You just had another 3-hour debate over a minute and 30 phone call from Victoria Nuland about how that single phone call supposedly establishes
Yes.
all of 2014 was a CIA, op. Or you can have the same debate over Burisma and Hunter Biden, and it's like the Republicans investigated this for 4 or 5 years. They came up with nothing. So why are we still having this debate? And even if you win it, and I'm like, but it's like, well, fuck, maybe they're not stupid. Maybe this is a good strategy because now they don't have to answer for literally any of their stuff. And yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do, by the way, when I was like debating with them. I was always trying to bring them in today. Like I was trying to bring them in like what is happening at the time and to discuss things that really matter now. But it never got there because you get like bogged down into this fucking swamp of exact same shit that you it's just,
A little bit, yeah. There's another thing that happens. Jordan Peterson used to be really, really good at this until I think he's dead right now, but I don't know. But where you
dead? What?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that guy. But where they
Russian exorcism got him. Okay.
maybe actually where they'll lay out all of the arguments leading up to a thing, but they'll never actually defend the thing itself. And so you're always in this weird world. So like if you do have a debate with any of these guys, you're like, well, what about the war crimes that Russians have committed, or what about the attack on Ukraine initially? And they'll very immediately say, yeah, that's bad. They shouldn't have done that. I agree, that's bad. So that they don't have to talk about it. But then they'll spend the entire rest of the conversation saying like, well, NATO was threatening Russia. That's why they had... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so by the end of this conversation, you're in this weird world because like, okay, well, they said that they didn't agree with the thing. Why do I feel like I just had a 2-hour conversation with them where they defended all of the reasons for the thing, though? Yeah, and it's like a very weird mindfucky world to be in because so many people, like every MAGA debate, I would say 50% of the MAGA debates I've had, maybe more, at some point in that conversation, the person says, well, I'm not here to defend Trump. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, if I go look at your Twitter or anything else, like, you fucking stand this guy constantly. Which is why now I try to reduce it to, like, do you think that voting for Kamala would have been better? Would Kamala have been a better president? It's a better question now, because most of them will say, well, no, I think Trump was still better than Kamala. Okay, thank you. So then don't get this bullshit about you wouldn't defend Trump, because you obviously still are,
Yeah, that's the same technique. They all use it. It's like the same tool. The tools are the same. No matter the country, no matter the type of the conversation, the tools of like basically malicious fucking liars, propagandists, and all those people who you now have to unfortunately deal with in the United States is the same. The toolbox, So ultimately, that's why it seems so recognizable. People talk to me in Ukraine, like, about it. They're like, my God, they literally like sound like Russians.
Yeah.
The fucking Trump stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's because like, it's a different culture. It's more, how to say this, more bombastic, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
More energetic, more of a show, like, Erika Kirk comes to mind and all that stuff. It's more of a reality TV kind of energy, but it's just, it's just what sells in the United States. I guess it's like what you guys like, but it's, the tools are the same. And the toolbox is the same. Yeah. And the lies are the lies everywhere. They're identical.
I guess that's politics,
Yeah, but I'm sad though that it's drowning in that shit. Like people are getting like brain fucked as shit. It seems in the U.S. So not prepared, I think, to deal with the propaganda agents from like any side really. Like right now, the MAGA is the biggest problem, obviously. But I even see like with the left stuff, like it's so easy for the fucking communists to manipulate the libs. Yeah. So easy. Every time I see it, I am like, no.
Oh yeah, because I think you sent me a message
right
after when I was talking to the one guy, who Ryan Getty or whatever, who I think is a good guy. I think he means well and everything. Yeah, I think he actually sees it maybe more than most, which is I guess sad in and of itself.
He didn't seem dumb. He didn't seem dumb. He seemed like a very nice person. I think he's seems like he wants to do the good stuff and actually doing things as well. It seems so that's cool. But not just talking. I mean, but some actual political stuff. But but it's just so very clear how little education there was on what was actually happening and how they operate and how all of this is like basically I think you say Trojan, I think in English.
Trojan horse, yeah.
Yeah, Troya is how we would say it. So Trojans. Anyway, different pronunciation. Point is that that's all of their fucking healthcare talks. Is this, okay? Like it's the horse. You like start with this thing because you want to get libs on your fucking side and to pretend like you're one of them and you share the exact same values as them when you do not. Not even remotely. And your next steps are not the same. But people, even like Soy Pill, I saw him like biting on that cringe. And I was like, what the fuck, my guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. I could talk about it for 10 hours, so we probably shouldn't. My feelings on the commies are very known. I don't think it bears repeating. But yeah. And he even like bought the exact same traps, by the way. He was like traps. I mean, soy peel. He was like, they're like, I have much more like baseline agreement with them, and you're like, no, you don't. But they sold it that way.
I think I
so
said that literally right before him coming on.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is where Hassan is going to do I just want single payer healthcare. And then I think Soypo came on like 5 minutes and I was like, well, they want single payer healthcare. And I'm like, oh my God. One thing I also don't like too, because we didn't learn enough about this in American education, and I think it is a problem when we just label people as being bad or good. Like, we need to be able to dig into the ideologies a little bit more. Because we can't pretend that like fascism is not like all horrible bad stuff. Like, why would anybody be drawn to a fascist government if it was all horrible bad stuff?
That was so childish when he said it. It was so
I'm like,
childish.
there's going to be some stuff in here that everybody likes, at least if you're if you're in the right group, And for communism, it's kind of sort of similar. Like if you're in the right group of people, if you're in the cooing party and not the party being cooed and executed, you probably feel pretty good about it. But it's
very childish.
Yeah, it's very silly.
Because you brought up to him actually like this like fascism thing. You were like, there's certain things that I would, and he was like, well, there's nothing I would agree with the fascism.
Yeah, like really nothing. You think the whole government was Hitler came in charge? He's like, today we're gonna murder all of our parents just to be, and then we're gonna torture babies and puppies. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's so childish. It's so childish. It's just like it's very illiterate. No offense, but like I hear that like very childish shit a lot. And sometimes people like don't, maybe because they don't want to like bother with it, they're like Nazi fascist bad, that's it, like and the communists and socialists in their mind is not just 100% shit.
Yeah,
so that's kind of why and that's, by the way, is why I hate that there are a lot of like social democrats or like democratic socialists, whatever the fuck that thing is that Bosch is doing, or whatever the fuck, I don't know. Anyway, point is that they make themselves palatable that way, because they associate with the people who are actually democratic, people who are actually liberal, and they associate themselves with those groups because they make themselves so much more palatable. But then listen how they speak when they're together. That fucking infamous Baby Settlers podcast with Hassan. Excuse me, that's what they actually are. Like, look at that. That's what they are. When you're not, I don't know why they did that, to be honest. I have no idea why they did that shit in public. It like boggles my mind, because that's supposed to be behind the scenes conversation, the one that libs and Democrats don't see, But they did it, I don't know, in broad daylight for some reason. But yeah, that's kind of like my only question to this whole thing. Not that they don't believe it, but because like, why would you expose your own methods like that? Kind of weird. But well, apparently it works because nobody cares. You brought that up to people so many times, and they're like, "I didn't see that." And
I haven't seen that. Yeah,
fuck me.
What are you gonna do?
The infamous, "I didn't see that." Like, why do you see some things and don't see other things?
That's the thing that I always say. Like, I think I've only brought that up in 1 or 2 debates, but I need to hit on that more, because there's an editorial choice made over the news you consume, and that should be a thing. Like, like I've spoken to lawyers who don't know that the president of the United States is targeting law firms, and it's like, how can you not know that as a lawyer? Like, even if you don't know that, fine, but what does it say about you that you haven't heard of this? Like, that in and of itself, Like, if I were to say, like, hey, I'm just curious, if 2 nations were going to war against 2 other nations, how many nations are at war? And they're like, well, 2 + 2, I don't know the answer to that. And it's like, okay, maybe you don't know the answer to that, but like, why do you not know how to do basic addition? Like, isn't that kind of an indictment on your character or intelligence all of themselves? That says something about you, But everything about like every trans athlete and every fucking you'll ask people like basic stuff about why are all these countries separated from the Soviet Union after 91 or whatever, and they don't know anything about this, but they'll know like, oh well, let me talk about fuck, I forgot his name. Shokan, the Ukrainian prosecutor, and everybody's like, how the fuck do you know? Because this is why I try not to call him stupid, even though I do. Just it's like a slur when I call somebody stupid. It's not an actual statement, because they're not stupid. They have a tremendous capacity for information, and they know like all this weird shit. Like, more people know who Shokan is than know who the Attorney General in the United States is. Maybe not right now because Pam Bondi's so famous, but in general, like they know more about that than our own AG. And it's like, how the fuck do you know all this information? You don't know anything about what's going on in the United States? What the fuck? Ugh.
Yeah, because it depends on it's just so selective.
Yes,
and selective blindness to everything as well. It's like this meme that Ukrainians always post. It applies to MAGA people as well. When there be like fucking like a Russian soldier gets exploded by a drone. Like a bunch of people come out of the woodworks on Twitter. War crime, evil Ukrainians killing poor Russian lads with drones. Oh my god, you shouldn't commit war crimes. War crimes bad. And then you have like millions hours of footage of in Kherson, for example, of the Russians hunting civilians with drones, like actual war crimes,
Yeah.
and
Or it's like,
and
why
you
have
have
if Ukraine is so stretched for supplies, why do they waste so much money putting nets over their civilian cities? Isn't that kind of weird? Why would they do that?
and it's just there's so much, dude. There's
Yeah.
so much footage, and nobody's seen anything. And they'd be like, and the people Ukrainians do this meme like a Russian guy gets exploded, the guy is like, lasers in his eyes awake, and then there's a Ukrainian couple getting exploded. I sleep.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah, that's like your MAGA people as well. Like Trump is like blatantly breaking the law, the constitution, shitting all over it, and like, I sleep. Like fucking Democrats does something, I don't know, whatever the fuck, like minor fucking thing, absolute warfare, like whatever. How could they evil? It's just very fucking this fucking thing about I saw like the ICE stuff. I'm not gonna go like into that. Obviously, my opinion pretty clear. I think you can guess it as someone who actually fought against exactly similar people as ICE, enforcement people who overstep and shit like that, like Berkut. But anyway, point is that they were like, why did he have a gun on him? And I'm like, oh, shocked. Because isn't that the guys who were like, my amendments, the father?
You have no idea.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I was like,
conservatives
what?
like, well, maybe you carry a gun to a protest. Maybe you deserve to die. And I remember, dude, I got killed by every lefty 5 or whatever years ago, and I was the only person on the left to defend Kyle Rittenhouse, and all the conservatives were so. This kid carried an AR-15 strapped to his chest. To a protest. But that was fine. By the way, and he walked to cops. He walked to the police line after the shootings and everything else, right? And I defended Rittenhouse, and I still do. I think it was legitimate use of self-defense, and I defend your right to carry a firearm. But then people are like, well, if you have a concealed carry firearm on you, and notice this guy was doing like the most like traditionally conservative, like he's a man type thing. There was a large man who was shoving a woman into the ground, and the guy stepped over to help the woman. This is like your core Christian conservative values, and the guy gets executed by 7 pigs, and everybody's like, well, maybe he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. And it's like, I'm sorry, I thought that was the liberal line. You were the don't tread on me guy. Oh, this is why I never want to hear Second Amendment arguments from these fucking losers ever again. It actually drives me insane.
I actually don't talk about this because I don't like to pretend that I know things that I don't know about. People could learn a thing or two about that. I think that's how I was raised. Okay. So I obviously don't know that much about like amendment shit, as much as an American would. So I never speak about this because, why would I? I'm not American. Fuck all know about that. But from what I heard, these were the guys that were always like pro-gun, this and that. My father's fucking founding fathers, this shit, that shit. And they'd be like always talking about this and like defending their, like Democrats have come in for our gun. And then I see this bitch, like this one of the blonde demons that always talk recently.
It's either
this,
Pam
like,
Bondi or Christy Nome. They're both demons, yeah. Actual demons.
I think there's another blonde demon that was...
Caroline Leavitt is another demon. She's the White House press secretary? Yeah.
I think so. Was it her? They look the same. Fucking, I confuse all of them. Anyway, point is, all people look the same. It's the rare like white people.
It's called we call it it's the Mar-a-Lago ethnicity. It's a new ethnic group.
Yes,
in the United
they
States.
look like a fucking separate ethnicity. Yeah. Like they all look the same.
Oh, it could have been
like,
Megyn Kelly. It could have been Megyn Kelly too. That's another demon. Yeah.
That's the wait. That's the demon.
Okay,
that's the the Megan person. Yeah, and I told you they're all the same. Anyway, point is that she was like, you know why I didn't get shot at the protest? Because I stayed at home.
Oh my
God, what the icon. I heard that during my damn times. You don't even know how many times from like Russian and people like that. They those Ukrainians, they don't want to get killed on the like heavily 100 plus people who were killed during the Maidan protest. And they were like, they should have stayed at home. And that's literally what they said. Like, I remember hearing this line so much, even from my like professors at school, which was very, very annoying at university, who were like pro-Russian stuff doing like basically, right? And they'd be like, just don't go there. Don't protest against the violation, I guess, of your rights, against the entire course of the country is going to take. Just, take it and, stay fucking home. Nothing bad happens to people who, don't do anything, I guess, against the government. Just take it. Yeah, and that's literally what she said. I never imagined an American person saying that, to be honest, with all this don't threaten me shit.
Yeah.
And, and all of them were like, we have guns because we want to stop like fucking tyrannical government.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, buddy.
Meanwhile,
apparently
the feds come to 2 states, kill 2 American citizens, white, and they're white people. These are the ones we're supposed to care about the most. And then they're just gone, and we no charges, no nothing. Like, there's like, I don't know if there's a betting market on this, but like, there's a chance that those 2 people that got killed, like, there will never be charges filed against those federal agents. It's possible. Who knows? Like,
very Russian of you.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Well,
Actually, it's even more sad because in the United States, we actually really did have a real election where we really elected Donald Trump, which is the worst part.
yes,
That's
fuck,
actually the
that
worst
makes
part.
it so much worse. Yeah, I also think so. Like, everyone, when you did it the first time, people in the world were like, "Ooh, well,
Who knows? Yeah.
slip-ups happen. Yeah, slip-ups happen. Okay, it was a fluke. It was a fucking, I don't know, like mushroom trip gone wrong. Like anyway, like it's gonna pass. Then you fucking elect him a second time. At this point, I'm sorry, bro. Like there's just, you can't just let that slide. I don't think after a second time, and yeah, well, we shall see. I guess.
See. Oh, good
Yeah.
luck. Have fun. Be careful.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Stay
Thank
safe.
you very much. DGG for life and all that shit, because like you guys slay unironically. You slay because like yeah, and most people just talk. I will say it that way. Most people just talk, they don't actually do. So that's kind of like what's worth it at the end of the day. Yeah, bye bye. And as you say, stay safe. I will try to not freeze and all that shit. Hopefully winter will end soon, so it will be better. And yeah, bye bye.
Hopefully this upcoming season is good. Yeah. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.